Yes. Okay, so student trustee Daniel Gervasio.
Here.
Caitlin Nguyen.
Here. Oops, here.
Thank you. Charlotte Sang.
Here.
Natalia Alvarado.
Present.
Hannah Rosoff.
Here.
Rosie Tejada, trustee Tejada. Trustee Lee.
Here.
Trustee Walker.
Here.
Vice President Gallegos.
Here.
President Salahuddin.
Here, thank you. Unless there are any changes, Superintendent Presta,
There's no changes.
can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unless there are any changes to the minutes, can I get a motion to approve both October 1st and October 10th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to board report. In this part of the agenda for our student trustees who are their first meeting with us, this is a time for us to report out anything for you all that's happening on your school campuses that you would like the community to know, or any events that you've participated in that you feel the community should know. So I'm going to let the adult trustees go first, and then I'll start with the students. So turning it over to Trustee Tejada.
Good evening. So I have nothing really to report. I spent last week visiting my daughter in New York. She's at NYU. I can't believe she's a junior. And so, but I am really looking forward to representing the district at the Top of the Hill Festival this Saturday.
For me, not much other than I did enjoy the Jefferson site meeting last week. I thought that was a very robust discussion about what's happening at the school site. So I appreciated the time that that Principal Harrigan and his team spent with us. And so it was a very good meeting.
I have nothing to report at this time.
I have nothing to report.
I also went to the Jefferson site meeting, and I agree, it was a really good conversation. It was nice to just be able to sit down and chat about an issue that is one of our goals, directly tied to one of our district goals. And then I also went to the Bayshore Block Party. So huge thanks to our communications director, Ms. Shreves, for all of the work that you did to get it all set up and running, and to everyone that volunteered that day. It was moved from the school site to the community center, which I hope that they move it back to the school site, because there was not as much parent participation this year because of the move. The community center had issues with parking, and it was in a weird location. But we made the most of it, and it was great. And then secondly, I would just say, the higher level, it's a really stressful time right now. I know I'm really stressed out, like everything that's happening in the world, and then the upcoming elections. And then it's just a really stressful time of the school year because it's right before break. And so I'm just really thinking about everyone's mental health, and we're not going to be able to solve everything all the time, and just hoping that people are taking care of themselves. I'll turn it over to our student trustees, and I'll start with Trustee Gervasio.
First of all, I would just like to say this tastes fantastic with the lemon in it. Last week at Thorin was the start of our second quarter. We wrapped up our first one, and with the start of a new quarter, we have our intercession week, which is basically just like a period in time at our school where like the staff take time to create new lessons and just basically prepare for the next quarter. And with intercession week, we usually have a little fun and go on some field trips. We had the chance to go on 2 last week and then 1 today. We went to Golden Gate Park's Japanese Tea Garden and also their Conservatory of Flowers, which was really nice. This past Friday, we visited the Legion of Honor Art Museum. Also very nice. I really liked it. And today, 10 students from Thornton visited, including me, we visited San Francisco State University and participated in a tour of the campus and also mock trials. And our next and final trip is this Friday, October 18th, where we will be going to a science and art focused fair at Mare Island. We are in the process of creating some murals on our campus by a very talented group of people known as Presita Eyes Muralist, straight out of Mission District in San Francisco. And we're excited and looking forward to getting that started soon. That's going to be really cool. And lastly, our wilderness program has developed a strong team, and they continue hosting rope courses for a variety of groups who are looking to participate in team building activities, learning more about themselves and stepping out of their comfort zone. And that's it for Thornton.
Thank you so much. I'm going on to Trustee Nguyen.
For Oceana this week, we don't have much going on, but in the upcoming October, on October 25th, Oceana will be hosting their annual Halloween Fest. This is a public event, so anyone from other schools are welcome to join. This is also a great opportunity for Oceana students to obtain community service hours to be a makeup artist or scarer for our annual haunted house. And additionally, we are also presently in our second hygiene drive, which students are able to donate products to their homerooms and hopefully win a pizza party if they win. And that's about it for Oceana.
Thank you so much, Trustee Russell.
Hi, so at Oceana, it's currently our Spirit Week and Homecoming Week. So this week we're dressing up. The theme is Candyland. This Friday, we have our homecoming football game, and then Saturday is the homecoming dance. Last Friday, the 11th, we had our annual food fair in which clubs advertise and raise money for their clubs using like people usually sell food or baked goods. And it was really successful. There's a lot of variety. And yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on.
Thank you so much, Trustee Alvarado.
So Jefferson has some things going on. So last week we had our finals and that was stressful. Then we had kickball introduced to our school and we had it during lunch, which was very fun. Many people enjoyed it. We had our freshman ASB elections happening. We had our Key Club did some blanket making. That was like really fun too. ASB conference at Westmore that happened. And then some events that are happening is the PSAT Wednesday, which is the preliminary scholastic aptitude test. Then we have Paul 3 for cross country league meet at Crystal Springs, which is the last league meet before championships. We have Foods Day this Friday. And we have an upcoming football pink out game for the breast cancer awareness. We have our International Week coming. And to start us off on Monday, we will have a chalk art day where students can express themselves and their culture. During lunchtime activities, there will be lunchtime activities happening during the International Week as well. And some big events coming up is a PTSA meeting. They'll be celebrating Dia de los Muertos. And last but not least, the new folklore club will be having a huge event for Dia de los Muertos. So as president and dance lead of El Amor para Todos Ballet Folclórico, we will have our very first Dia de los Muertos performance at Jefferson High School on November 1st in the Little Theater. We welcome everyone to come, join us, and celebrate those who have lost and loved. All tickets will be sold the day of the event at the door for $5 each. And Jefferson High School staff and children under the age of 2 are free. Doors open at 3:30, and we can't wait to have you all there. And you can see the beautiful poster. I'll say poster. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Singh.
Hi, so for Westward, what's been going on is that there's rally this week. It's a beach theme, and there has been Spirit Days and lunchtime activities going on for the entire week. Today's Spirit Day is Bikers versus Servers. Last week, for the entire week, we also had rally work days as well. This month, we're also celebrating LGBTQ History Month, in which student government has been passing out pins to celebrate this month. And I believe that student government members are also interviewing LGBTQ staff and community members and just to talk about their experiences and their identity. There's a senior hoodie deadline, which is going to be extended to this Friday. Westmore FBLA just had a popcorn chicken fundraiser today, and there is a girls tennis senior night and also a home game for volleyball today against South City. Some concerns that I do want to bring up, though, is that there is a really serious ant problem at our school, and there's also a mice problem, and the hygiene is not great at all. But that's all for updates.
Thank you so much. Turning it over to Superintendent Presta for your report.
Thank you. Bikers versus surfers. I like that. Never heard of that day before. So I would like to lead with just acknowledging our school administrators. October 13th to 19th is the week of the school administrator. And so, you know, while it takes a village, leadership is really, really important. And our school site leaders are all very dedicated, and we're lucky to have them. And I just want to call them out. I also was at the Bayshore Block Party this weekend, and I concur with President Salahuddin. It was different. I mean, it was great to be there and to see people, but I did miss the outside open air atmosphere from the other years. And I'm thankful to everybody who volunteered their time this weekend to be there. Last week, a team of us were at Courageous Conversations Summit. It was a very impactful 3 days. And I think we all really appreciate the opportunity to go focus on racial equity and sort of hone our skills as anti-racist leaders. So it was very good. Aside from that, I think I just want to follow up on what President Salahuddin said. I was meeting with a principal the other day, last week, talking about all this stuff. And they said, I always forget that October's this hard. And October in schools is really, really it's just all kind of flowing at all of us, full steam ahead. Emotions oftentimes are very high, and it's a really stressful time of year. I think you get over the hump of the start of the school year. You don't have a lot of breaks. I'm not sure what it is, but thank you for reminding us, like, we're going to be okay. And it's really important to take care of ourselves. I've actually had a few nights in a row of 7 hours of sleep, which is unheard of in my world, because I think it's just really important for us to take care of ourselves right now. But just acknowledging that it's a high tension time right now, but we're going to get through it. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any subcommittees that board members need to report out on? No. Okay, moving on. I don't see anyone from our local union here, but I would also like to say that, we've all been informed of the passing of a member of President Casey's family, and just want to say that our hearts go out to her and her family during this very tough transition. So moving on to our consent agenda, unless anyone has an item that they would like to remove, can I get a motion to approve consent?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. I don't believe we have any items or any cards for public comments. Nope. Okay, moving on to our first discussion item, item 9A1, board policy update on BP 1113 district and school websites. Superintendent Presta.
Thank you. This board policy 1113 district and school websites is really just kind of reviewing the policy and updating it and discarding some outdated material. It's pretty straightforward, actually.
Looking at all of these policies, I mean, I read through them and they all seemed to be around the same vein. And is it okay to just take them as a collective?
I would be very happy to take them as a collective.
Does anyone have anything or any items on any of the board policy updates that they would like to discuss before we move on?
No.
Okay, thank you. And we'll have these back on consent.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item up for discussion, LCAP Goal 6, Metric 7. And I will again turn that over one second to Superintendent Presta or Deputy Superintendent Baca.
So I'll start, but essentially we are bringing the LCAP goals. The board has chosen 4 goals to really focus on this year, and so we bring those to light at board meetings. Last board meeting we focused on another goal, and Ms. Baca is still putting some of that information together to share back with the board. And so today we have Goal 6. And it's metric 7. So by July 2027, students with individualized educational programs will be at least in the orange indicator on the dashboard in the areas of smarter balanced assessments, graduation rates, and college and career indicator. And so we've got the metric 7 specifically says rate of diploma-bound students who met the requirements for entering the University of California and California State University system. So that's the A to G rate. And so 22-23, it was 15%. By 25-26, our goal is 30% of diploma-bound students meeting those. So we brought that forward, and we'd love to hear questions that the board might have or discussion.
All right, and so I'll open up to any of the board members if you had any questions or comments, thoughts on this particular goal.
Yeah, for Ms. Baca, question. Is there sort of an interim goal that you would expect to see for this year? If last year was 15%, what we would be potentially targeting if the 3-year goal is 30%?
So I'm hoping that the following year would be 20% and then increase by 5% and then finally 30% by 25-26.
What sorts of barriers do you think could prevent an increase year over year?
One potential barrier would be not reviewing the transcripts accurately. So we need to make sure that it's done on time and it's done with fidelity and that there's like a couple of checks. So it's not just one person, but actually a couple of people really checking to make sure that students are placed in courses that they should be in. And so that could really help boost the A through G rate. And also, again, we've had a lot of co-teaching classes right now. And so really looking at the students and where they are and really see if, the students could really thrive in a supported classroom. And so our special ed directors have been working really hard in supporting our teachers in co-teaching.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I wanted to ask, so when we're looking at IEPs, you mean the whole purpose is that they're individualized? Is there, when they're looking to individualize, are they looking at A to G requirements? Or are they, so for example, one of the things that helped when my son was in special education was that he was allowed to read different things. So he was allowed to use a comic book for something, but would that fall into something that would also be able to be used as credit in an A to G course?
So one of the things that we're working on district-wide is universal design for learning. And so we want to make sure that students learn in multiple ways and that students are able to demonstrate what they know in multiple ways. And so now, more and more of our teachers are expanding their ways and assessing students' capabilities. So yes, it would qualify that as long as, they meet the standard and we know that there's like multiple ways to show understanding of materials.
And then for co-teaching, just a reminder, like how many schools are we doing co-teaching at? Is it just 2 right now, or is it, because I know Oceana and then Terra Nova.
Westmore is also doing
Westmore.
co-teaching, and Jefferson as well.
There to all 4 of them. And is it is it a portion of the classes, or so if you could get co-taught in, like if you're in English and math, or is it for all of the classes that they're able to participate in there?
Can I also add, can we give a description of what co-taught classes are for people that may not know?
So co-teaching class means that we have a general education teacher, and there's also a case manager that is working with a teacher alongside. So they work really close together. They collaborate, they plan lessons to make sure that students with IEP are supported in their accommodations. But it also helps our general education students as well, having, 2 teachers be in the classroom. And as far as the courses right now, it's mostly English and math that have been co-taught. And there's, I believe, 1 science at Jefferson High School.
Okay. And then because this indicator is also about the dashboard. So we're also talking about the Smartest Balanced assessments. And for those that have an IEP, which is the individualized education plan for our students that qualify for special education, when there's accommodations, like I'm looking at like how many of the students with IEPs have accommodations for Smarter Balance, and then when they do, like they get knocked. There's a knock on their actual score. Is there or are they still okay?
No, it doesn't lower their score if they have an accommodation. And the accommodations are put in our special education data management system, SACE. And our case managers have been doing a fairly good job in making sure that accommodations are in their IEP, and that also teachers are reminded what those accommodations are, so that they can implement it throughout the school year in their classrooms.
And is there a particular area, or is it similar to when we looked at our general population, where thank you for putting the graph that had, where there's gaps or where students are not meeting the IEP requirements, but there was some, math had some of the higher numbers. It was kind of all over the board. Is that similar to with this group?
It's very similar, and it's also English. That is the area that needs
most focus.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Can you give me an example of what you mean by accommodations?
So an accommodation could be using a calculator. So students are able to use the calculator while taking the test. They could also have a text-to-speech where their passage is read to them through the Smarter Balance platform. Some of them have extra time or a separate setting. So those are some of the more common accommodations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And so besides the co-teaching, is there anything else that we're doing here to help, or is there any other things that we're doing at the school site level or at the district level with training to help with this particular metric?
So one of the first things is awareness with our special education staff that this is a goal for our district and it is the board goal. So our special education directors have included this in their agenda item when they speak with their special education staff. The other thing that we are doing is that we have been providing a lot more co-teaching professional development for our teachers. And also, again, continuing with our work with universal design for learning so that we can make sure that, students can access the content and no matter where they are.
And the professional development is just for co-teaching. So let me back up. The question I'm going to ask is for staffing. I know staffing, especially in this area, has been an issue, especially with transition. And so are we able to, is that an ongoing issue, or do we have the staff to be able to meet the co-teaching goals that we need to meet in order to do this?
We have increased staffing for co-teaching. So in the past, we've staffed just based on caseloads, but now we really look at the program and we speak with the principal and say, hey, we're willing to give additional FTEs if you're open to having co-taught classes. And we have been staffing based not only on caseload, but also programs, and specifically highlight co-teaching.
May I add to that? That's not to say special education staffing is difficult. It is difficult. It is difficult to get the employees that we need, but we have increased.
And then the other thing around special education too is the percentage of students that are in special education where English is not the first language that's taught at home, which is like an additional barrier. Can you just speak a little bit about that? And then also, how communication with parents and IEPs who are English is not their first language?
Yeah, so as far as supporting our students or dually identified students who are English learners and with an IEP, we have some bilingual paraprofessionals at the school sites that support that. And with IEPs, we want to make sure that we also hire professional interpreters. And so either case managers or the principals would contact Ms. Basuino's office to make sure that there is an interpreter available. There are some languages where it's really hard to find an interpreter. So one of the options that we have been using is through Language Line. It's not ideal. It's a phone call, but they're able to provide us with languages that are not very common. And also we've utilized our staff sometimes to interpret as well. This year, we have negotiated a bilingual stipend for staff that are able to interpret. And that has started, and we're very excited. We have a lot of people who are interested in interpreting for us.
Oh, that's really a good idea. So I love that idea, because the one issue that I have I'm very happy that we're doing interpretation, but if you are not someone who's versed in IEP, it's a whole different language. So you're interpreting two languages. So having staff that are already know school language and they can interpret that, it'd be fantastic. So that's a great. And then the other question I was asked is, I know we, in our SIG diff, and we did have a parent meeting, but there was low turnout. And has there been any improvement in trying to get more parent participation, especially in a special education parent group, trying to revise that committee?
We're still trying very, very hard. The last time we tried, we had an outside organization actually present information about IEPs and how to access them and the accommodations. And we had some parents who RSVP'd, but actually nobody showed up. And so, we're still going to continue to try. I know that our special education directors have done multiple ways of outreaching parents, like direct outreach. They even make personal phone calls. And we've adjusted time and we've adjusted date. And it's been a challenge to get our parents.
And these were virtual or?
Virtual, we offered hybrid, we offered in-person.
Everything. Okay. Okay. Those are all the questions that I have. Any other questions? Go ahead.
One more question. What is actually our total number of diploma-bound students?
I don't have that on the top of my head,
Okay.
but I will put it in the weekly recap. But overall, we have about 12% of our students district-wide have an IEP. I have to separate the certificate, track, and diploma-bound students.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think it's in the LCAP somewhere. No, I read that. I think it's in the LCAP somewhere. It is, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Did I just go to paper? So that is all that we have. This is going to be a very short meeting tonight. Give people back some free time. Any consideration for any future agenda items? Anyone? So we haven't heard a lot or maybe some information on, oh God, I'm tired and now the name has gone away. The school within Terra Nova.
The what?
Our school within Terra Nova, our,
TDS?
yes. Just to get some info or report on TDS.
Sure. So what are you thinking? Would you like a presentation about what's happening at TDS?
It's easiest. I don't want to make anything up. I haven't, we used to get an annual report on TDS, just like adults. They came in. And when they were at the DO, I always be able to pop in there every once in a while, but I haven't been able, they're at Terra Nova, they're further away.
Okay.
So, how they're doing, what's going on, how many students?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Well,
With that,
it's very early.
I know. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wow.
All right. Go home.